Hi there, and welcome to Canceling COVID. I'm Tanya Rivens, making it happen this morning as usual. I appreciate you oh so much. Getting started here and got some exciting stuff to share with you. A great conversation to share as well. I have a guest who's joining me. You may have seen me kind of moving some stuff around as we first hopped on. I'm not sure he was with me, and now the call has dropped. Hopefully, he'll get back on. In the meantime, again, it's Canceling COVID, where we keep you informed and provide information about what's happening in our community. Not sure if you've seen the numbers yet or not, but clearly we've got issues, folks, with numbers going back up. And we wanted to kind of talk about that. Someone out in the street beating the path, wanting you to know what he's seeing, what he's dealing with. And again, had him on here and not sure where he is right now, which was starting the show. And sometimes it just happens like that because we've got a lot of information to share with you, a pretty power packed show. So I wanted to go ahead and jump right in. And he's back right now. Here he is, none other than my good friend, CJ Chris Guffey. Good morning, and thank you for hopping on and joining us this morning. How are you? So I'm Chris.
There
I
it
don't
is.
hear you.
I thought I
There
had
you
some.
go. Yeah. Okay. How's it going?
There it is. There it is. Good. Can you hear me now?
Absolutely. He can hear you loud and clear. So
Well,
thank you so
thank you.
much for
Thank you. Thank
taking.
you.
Yeah, it must be a delay on your end.
I had a few people on the phone earlier, and I was trying to get off, but you know me, I love to just share, the goodness of the Lord and learn a little bit about Mother Teresa and things like that with Sarah. And so that was pretty intriguing. But I told them all, I said, I'm looking forward to having this wonderful call with my sister, who just
Right.
always brightens my day up and brightens the city's day up. And so I think your new name is just Shining Bright Star or something like, the the North Star.
Well, Chris, I just
But
appreciate you. He's a believer, a lover of God, and always how out and about helping people, which is something that we appreciate you for doing as well. But let's jump right in. You sent me this video, and I want to be able to show it. Hopefully, I can get it to pop up while we're on about you out and about. Well, first of all, tell everyone a little bit about you.
well, I mean, I'm born from Wingate, North Carolina. Actually, hospital in Monroe. Come from a wonderful family, mother and father. I had total 7 siblings, including myself. That would be 8. So there's like 10 in the immediate family. Um, I've been fortunate enough to have two wonderful women in my life that were able to board children, Nicole Dees Guffey and Monica Silva Guffey. I've got 5 beautiful children and 2 grandchildren. Wonderful blessings there. And
It's gonna put it on.
I was able to come through. I was able to come through life, pretty interesting. It was a lot of trying times from a military background. I think I did the math at one point in time. It could be off. It could be more. It's probably more with my great grandfather, my past heritage, because even I found out and discovered that my grandfather actually married a Blackfoot Indian. So I'm really, really interested in learning a lot about that and a lot about like what happened and took place. So, but don't talk about that right now. It's just
Right.
I went on through life as a kid and grew up.
And I really wanted you to kind of touch on, and excuse me for moving around. I was trying to get my my computer's dying, so I had to plug that in. This is all live first,
Yeah.
folks. It's real. So that's what was going
Yeah.
on with me right now. But I wanted really to focus more, which is fine. But you're a believer first and foremost that does a lot in the community, and so in an
That's
effort to
correct.
share what you have done for so many people, I want to drop this video in that just keeps popping up. So clearly, it wants to be shown. So let me just share this while we're here.
Man, you're sick. It's COVID stuff. I'm doing a. Hey man, I'm doing a special on COVID next week. Okay.
Oh, I don't know what to say.
Know that you're out here and you need help, right? You can't get any help.
I'm getting.
Hey brother. Hey. Right there's your cigarettes. Yep.
Sir, be happy, healthy, well satisfied now.
Yeah. Yeah. Just say God bless and just
Thank you.
pray for the fact. Take care. Okay.
Did you
Great.
guys go to Alcoholics Anonymous?
Grace and peace.
Where you guys from? Do you go to AA?
Yes, sir, I have AA and NA.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, my clothes, the courage to change the things I can.
Where you guys from?
Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm from Marshville, well, no, Wingate, North Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah. You need to make your way down there. Okay?
I've been there once.
Well,
I had a friend who was stationed there for
military? Well, they take care of everybody down there that's got COVID, you know. So, eat those oranges. That honey is only for your throat when it's sore. If it's sore now, eat that whole thing, 1 tablespoon. Pace it out like every 3 hours.
You just feel so weak.
Yes, you got to eat. You got to get you're getting depleted.
You smoke a cigarette, you get a head rush.
Yeah, you don't need no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing. Okay, eat that. Go ahead and punch the hole. I'll punch the hole in these oranges for you. Okay.
So, Chris, kind of tell us what's happening here. Tell us what's going on, and walk us through what you were experiencing.
I can't hear you, Tanya.
Tell us what is happening
some
here.
reason.
Kind of walk us through the video. So I'm not sure what just happened. I'm checking. I wanted you to
there,
kind of go
Tanya?
through. Uh-huh. Are you able to hear me? Looks like your microphone was off. Can you hear now? Okay, he still can't hear. So I tell you what, since we don't have breaks or anything like that, I'm not exactly sure what's going on. But the video that I was showing was an opportunity for you to actually see and hear what's still happening on our streets, which is our conversation about how the COVID is still impacting the country. It's not at the level that it was before, but certainly it's having an impact. And he's out on the ground, doing the footwork out in the trenches, talking to individuals and doing what he can to try and help them. I'm going to try to bring him back up again so he kind of talk about this. Chris, I don't know if it's on your end. Looks like he's gone dark again. So I really wanted to give him an opportunity to talk about what was going on while we try to bring him up. What I can also do right now is try to bring up our next guest, which is always Dr. Tracia Black. And it's always great to have in the community and jumping all over the place here. So let me see if I can get Chris back on before we bring up Dr. Black. Are you able to come up right now, Chris? Can you still hear me? And if you can't, then what we'll probably have to do is if you want to try another method to hop on, what I'll do is, and I'll type in the chat, and it's okay. It's technical. So change to your other method, and I can bring up the next guest and then come back to you is how we can do. So are you able to hear me still? Okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and jump in with Dr. Black, which we had the conversation earlier. She had an opportunity to see the video as well. So here's Dr. Black, a groundwater solution. Thank you so much. As always, I've brought in an expert to kind of continue this conversation. Thank you to CJ Guffey for pointing out his work in the community. And it's pretty obvious. We have talked about already the spike in the cases, and we're kind of still moving around like life is just normal. And I know it's the new norm, but we really do have an issue happening here. And to his point, here's someone out homeless in the community that's being overlooked, that's suffering possibly from COVID. Clearly, he has not been diagnosed. But the concern from Guffey is we've got people still on the streets that are struggling, that are dealing with this. But it's not just in the streets, it's all around the country. And Dr. Black, you have shared with me in the past, and we want to kind of talk more about this. There was some funding allotted to kind of be proactive that may have really helped avoid this, or not completely avoid it, but kind of help lessen the impact of what we're seeing now.
Absolutely, Tanya. I don't know if you guys remember, I told Tanya I've been talking about this for some years now, but North Carolina was selected as a pilot state for something called Healthy Opportunities. So the federal government identified North Carolina, which we are one of the most unhealthy states in the United States. And so the federal government allocated, we thought about $650 million. I think the total amount is $661 million to address what we call the social determinants of health.
So wait a minute, Dr. Black. Go back and say that again. You froze just a little bit because I want to make sure people understand what we're talking about. And again, I've got Dr. Tracia Black, a supporter of Canceling COVID, Groundwater Solutions, groundwater-solutions.org. That funding amount is a large amount. I don't want to just gloss over that. So repeat
So
that for us one more time.
The total amount that the federal government allotted to North Carolina was $661 million.
Woo.
And the goal of this was to address what we call the social determinants of health. If you think
Okay.
about all the different things, when you have a medical issue, what are the issues that keep you from going to get treatment? You know, to finally make an appointment with your doctor. You know, whether it might be work. I have to work. I don't have enough money to pay my bills, so I can't take off work to go to the doctor. Where many people, they don't have housing. You know, they're like this gentleman who is on the streets. You know, he doesn't have access to health care. So housing is one of those social determinants that money was supposed to address. We also know that people are starving and hungry and have no access to, if they have food, maybe it's not healthy foods because we have these food deserts throughout the country. So the money was to go to address food and nutrition in our community. Maybe folks want to work, but they don't have transportation. So there was money there for transportation services. And finally, the money was to go to address domestic violence prevention, or they call it interpersonal safety. So for those four things, housing, food and nutrition, transportation, and domestic violence prevention, this money was supposed to go out into the community. Now, when they originally announced this, Tanya and audience, we were really excited about it, you know, because for years we've thrown money at healthcare, more money at healthcare, usually not healthcare providers that look like me. Let's be real about that, but for other systems, larger systems, to maybe we will get healthy. So we were really excited about these funds because we knew, you know, I said at the beginning of COVID, Black people, people of color, marginalized populations have 99 problems and COVID ain't one. If you can't address the housing, if they don't think know their babies are going to eat, they're not even going to be focused on COVID. So we were excited about these funds. What we were concerned about, though, is that if the funds went through the usual channels, that means, you know, the same
old nonprofits, the same old agencies
getting those funds, that we would never see the funds trickle down to real change in the streets of our community. Well, I'm sad to say that is exactly what has happened.
So Healthy Opportunities was given, it's a program, a pilot program, just to kind of sum it up as we move on. Millions of dollars designated for North Carolina because of our status as a state being one of the unhealthiest states in the country
per capita.
And so what kind of progress what has happened with the money?
So let me start from the very beginning. The money actually was awarded pre-COVID. This was prior to the pandemic.
Okay.
In 2018, going into 2019 is when the announcements were made that we had, you know, we were celebrating because we had been selected with this funds. So around the state, organizations that I'm personally connected with, we were working to form networks that included churches and houses of faith, that included a wide range of nonprofit organizations, as well as healthcare providers, particularly Black and brown providers, because we know that there are grassroots efforts that we have been participating in years, decades, and we have a wealth of experience that was going to be needed to take the resources out to the community for those people like the gentleman in the video. Well, we did submit proposals. I think there were multiple organizations that submitted proposals back in 2018-19. Well, at the time, we were told something happened. They wanted to suspend it for a little while and that they would re-announce. Well, we found out in 2021, just last year, less than a year ago, that it had not really been re-announced publicly and in a transparent way, but 3 organizations have been selected to receive these funds.
Okay, so they've got the funds, the traditional agencies have gotten the funds. And so what is the impact or what's the update on their work?
Well, originally we were concerned because many of those networks of providers that we had been organizing over the last several years were not included in that.
Okay.
We know that these larger organizations have subcontracted with some smaller organizations, but not including any providers of color. So originally our push was that you need to serve more people. You need to serve folks that look like us, that our families, our communities let us at least participate. And so that was the push. Well, in a meeting last week, we were asking about numbers, and we have discovered, it was revealed that no one has been served with these funds. Zero
Oh my
people
goodness.
have been fed. To our knowledge, there has been no housing provided for the community. And so I know personally, I was outraged. I was outraged to the point of almost being sick on the stomach that, are we doing this again? This is not okay. And I'm curious as to how collectively we are going to respond to this.
So
Because-
it's a Healthy Opportunities, a pilot program, at least $6 million designated for 4 categories.
$661 million.
661, which is over a half, close to $1 billion.
Close
And
to
we're
$1
talking
billion.
about, yes, and we're talking about to address housing. I think you said transportation, as well as domestic
Food
violence,
and nutrition,
interpersonal, and food. And you're telling me this was allotted prior to COVID in 2018, and absolutely no one's been served.
No one has been served.
So now, who is responsible for administering this? Was this through North Carolina State Department of Health and Education, or was it a federal government grant that they were given to start to allocate?
Right. It's federal funds that were allotted to North Carolina, somewhere between Department of Health and Human Services and the Division of Medicaid. The money was to be managed and distributed to the community.
Wow. So that's something that we should really pause to take in. But my question is, you said you're interested in trying to see how the response would be. How should we respond?
I think we should call our elected officials. We should call the governor's office. We should call the leadership and Department of Health and Human Services and ask, where are those funds? And where in my community can we access it? I did speak to a provider in Vance County who is a smaller organization that did receive, after much pushing, did receive a subcontract to help with food. They are farmers. They deliver food. I think I've talked about their organization before, but they believe food is medicine. They grow healthy foods and deliver nutritious food boxes, organic materials, fruits and vegetables into people's homes. Well, they have a subcontract for food. And I said, well, tell me the number of folks that you served. And they confirmed, because I left the meeting thinking that cannot be right. And so I called, I said, how many folks have you served? And he said 0. He said 0. And he said, part of the issue is bureaucracy. He said, I can have someone come to my organization and tell me that they are hungry, but I am not allowed to give them food. I have to give them a 1-800 number to one of these larger organizations, because they have to make the referral to me to be able to deliver the food. He said, I've given that number over and over and over again, and it never comes back to me in the form of a referral.
This is so puzzling to me, and it's just right there in front of us. And I guess, to your point, are we really doing this again? Did we learn anything from what we've just come out of and are still dealing with? And you're sitting here talking about a large amount of money. Folks, we're talking about healthy opportunities. We're going to do more digging into this. But Dr. Black has already offered her suggestion on how we should respond. I think it's worth trying to get, or not trying, but getting more voices to speak out on this and to find out what's going on, especially there are organizations around the city. You also said there are organizations that you currently work with that are pretty much outraged. And I think that this is something that needs a lot more attention, because it's mind-boggling to me.
It's mind-boggling. And we're going to, if we don't move quickly, we're going to look up in a couple of years and that money will be gone and there will be no positive change. It's designated for transformational types of changes in our community. And it will be horrible if it is not utilized in that way. The other thing is maybe we should meet collectively. So I am going to say that I am open to collective conversations.
Okay.
You can call our office, and if you want to be a part of that discussion, and we will bring you right in so that you can be part of a solution.
I think you should be applauded as usual. You always have a pulse on what's happening in the community, as well as everything around and concerning what benefits our community along these lines. So we appreciate that. Always trying to educate, inspire, encourage, and empower our community. So I put the information up, groundwater-solutions.org, 704-596-0505. We're talking about Healthy Opportunities, a pilot program that has pretty much served no one, and the funding is there. So Dr. Black is offering to bring, we need to start this ground level campaign to get together and start asking questions and find out what's going on with this money. Keep in mind, guys, it's political season, so it would really benefit your lawmakers to respond. Although that's the takeaway is they should respond year round, but they're just a little bit more adapt or a little bit more cautious right now. As
Well,
far as
I think also, Tanya, they respond to the issues that are really visible. They're forced to respond to. But things like this often fly under the radar. I want to believe the best for the folks in Raleigh, that they want the best for this state.
Right.
I believe the folks in leadership, whether it's administrative in the Department of Medicaid or in the Department of Health and Human Services, I believe our elected officials, they truly want what's best for North Carolina. But sometimes when we're used to doing things a certain way, we're used to funds come in and they go right out in the same way, and we know that way wasn't working. Sometimes there needs to be a paradigm shift. And there's not going to be a paradigm shift unless the issue becomes visible. We start knocking on doors, making phone calls, or showing up to see folks. And I think this is an issue that's more important than many things on the table right now, because we are still in the midst of a pandemic. We need those resources. Our folks on the community level, it's getting harder and harder to find folks who come and knock on our door. I work with individuals with severe mental health disorders, addictions, trauma. And again, like COVID, they've got 99 problems, and we want them to get better and to be able to work on their mental health. But if we can't get them stable with a place to live, regular meals and nutrition, and to keep them safe, then we're kind of going around spinning wheels that will never lead to additional change. So I think, folks, it's time to speak and to act.
Well, let's see how this is going to work. I will put up, or I have here, our lawmakers, some of their numbers on the state level. We've got so many. So here's the link to go and find out. And also reach out to Dr. Black so that we can figure out how to approach this and start bringing some attention to this matter. We can really start locally, too, with our lawmakers, our council, as well as our commissioners, and start asking them questions and getting answers or asking so they can ask questions is the thing about it. But just don't ignore what's happening here. So Dr. Black, 704-596-0505. The pilot program is called Healthy Opportunities. Where's the money? Who are you serving? What's the holdup? What's going on? 2018, we're 4 years later. We're still dealing with some of the same issues, and we're not seeing any results, and certainly not getting the benefit of using these resources for what they were designated for. So Dr. Black, as always, I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. We're going to keep working at this. It's not going to be just 1 week that we talk about this. This is an ongoing conversation, and hopefully we can come together collectively and address this issue and start getting some results. They serve us. Keep that in mind always. Lawmakers serve the community, and we can always give them the benefit of the doubt, but we'll work with you to get all this worked out. So, Dr. Black, I appreciate your time. Anything else you'd like to share before we sign off?
No, just continue to be safe, continue to be smart, and don't be silent, everyone. Have a great week.
Great stuff. My mic is muted, but we're back on now. Froze up right there at the end. A lot of little heebie-jeebies happening today, but we're going to keep rolling because this is great information. So notice on the side, I've got comments where you can call Department of Health and Human Services, 1-800-662-7030 to find out, hey, what's going on with Healthy Opportunities? Also, 919-733-4111, another opportunity to ask what's happening with Healthy Opportunities, and Groundwater Solution, 704-596-0505. Now I'm going to try to get CJ back on again because his conversation really kind of kicked off everything that we were trying to do. So Guffey, I don't know, can you hear me now as we're trying to have the conversation with you?
Yes, I can. I heard the whole conversation between you and Doc. It was very good, very informative.
Okay, so now let's start back though. The video that we had on, and the gentleman, if anyone missed it, of course they can catch this on my Facebook page later on. But what were you doing out there? Just trying to minister, and I take it that you're ministering, and this is what you were finding.
Yeah. I mean, I saw an opportunity. There were some other things that were going on for me personally. That typically, I think, happens to all of us. We get wrapped up in our personal walk and life and, wants, not needs, but our wants. And this was actually a need for me. But actually, yes, I at the moment, numerous amount of things happened to me during this travel. And that was one that definitely stuck out. And I felt led to even video the situation, not because I was going to get like YouTube famous, not because I was going to get some proceeds out of it. It was from the pureness of the heart. Like, this is a problem. This gentleman
You travel with NASCAR, and our time. I want to keep moving because you got valuable input. But you just travel with NASCAR, so you see a lot. And we're going to bring you back and talk about, because we talk about a lot. But on the whole tip of COVID, as she's talking about housing, transportation, I talked about the whole domestic violence and food. With the impact that COVID has had on our country, as you travel around, are you seeing all of this that is happening as well?
Yeah. Well, it's a very defined area that I'm seeing it in.
Okay.
It's not, I would say that it's definitely in a stronger area to the Black community,
right,
to the Hispanic community.
So minorities.
And yes, very much so.
Why do you think so, Chris? Why would you say that's the case?
I guess they're out of sight, out of mind, because they've got them all segregated right now.
Okay. So one of the points that you and I have talked about, and I love your heart for just people. You love people. And we talk about on this show oftentimes the underserved community. And sounds like you're saying
homosexuals, everything from homosexuals to Black, white, African American, lesbians, alcoholic, just heck, I'm all of them. I'm even a lesbian. I didn't even know it. All right. So I'm so sick of it. It's just disgusting. The racism, the bigotry, all of it.
So let's go to that. That's the bigger issue. What you have pointed out to me. Although that gentleman you saw sitting there, he was a white male, but clearly
he was. Well, yeah, you could say that. Some people could say justify it to maybe have a conversation with them, but his actual probably descent was, Hispanic, probably Mexican, which is and even in the Mexican culture, I've learned in the South Americans, even from like the Chile, they look at the Mexican community as kind of like the salt and pepper deal.
I understand,
but I don't like that. But I didn't know all that when I was coming up, and that's the thing is that was the gentleman that was there, and it went on for 30 minutes, if not longer. Okay.
So what was the outcome with him? What was the outcome? Did you all
I went back. I had to go back into the nice hotel, right?
All right.
The nice hotel. Yeah. I believe the hotel was like a 4 point. So it was like a 4. If it was a 5, he probably wouldn't have been on the property. But this was
Okay.
like maybe a 4 or
4-star?
3, maybe, no, I'll say like 4. Yeah, we'll say that. All right. And they
Okay.
were tolerating. There was some help there. They were like trying. But this gentleman was literally now finally, which y'all did not get to see this. We had literally left in that Uber. Okay. All right.
Okay.
That Lyft, and actually it was a firefighter. It was a firefighter out of California. It wasn't even a Lyft. It was a gentleman that was trying to help me get from one place to the next.
Okay.
And he was a brother. We call him a brother, and he was actually Latin, and he was very, very helpful. We got in the car. We fed him. I talked through the process of it. I tried to show him. I think the video even shows me getting in the car and we left. Well, listen, we fortunately, all right, went to the car rental places. And now I know you guys are gonna be like, car rental places, especially here in North Carolina, they never shut down, not at the airport or any place.
Okay,
Right?
so
Well,
what was the
these
outcome?
shut down at 12. So we went back. Here he is now. He's on the ground. His cab was supposed to go ahead and pick him up. He's supposed to be taken. He knows nowhere where he's going to go. And I said, you got to go to the hospital. He's going to go to the hospital. We even had to get a cab to go to the hospital. I'm sitting there like, a cab? Okay, so now at this point,
So why didn't someone call medic? Why didn't you call?
I went in.
medic?
I went inside, and I demanded. Right, and there was another elderly couple there that was freaking out. I think they started having a panic attack. There was another family that was in the lobby, and I was demanding that they call 911 right now.
Okay, so I want to. Do you know the outcome, or did you ever have any follow up after that? Once he went to the hospital?
No.
Okay.
And I feel that it probably didn't go good. I feel that the man probably is either dead now or he's close to death. I felt that.
So he was seriously ill. Seriously
ill. He was very, very. He was without a doubt. He was going in, and I would say he was catching pneumonia, and he was going into. He had the shakes. He was on the ground, balled up, and he had the shakes. So he was shaking, so he was going into hypothermia. Yes.
Well,
because he's burning up, and it was so.
Well,
and we say California. Well, I'm trying to make sure I get all the facts. Don't mean to interrupt, Tanya, but I'll stop after this. But California, we think it's it's warm. Well, we were like right up close to San Fran, okay, and this was getting colder in the night, and the wind was ripping, okay, so it was cold. So if you have a temperature of 100 and whatever, you're going to be freezing, okay, and so that's how that works. So his body was shutting down. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, and for the sake of time, and we had some glitches there, and hopefully we can bring you back next week. We can do part 2 if you're available. But I wanted to just touch on one thing that I'm not going to let just gloss over. You said a lot of this is contributed to racism and bigotry. Why is that?
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that even in some of our own families that, we have been taught the wrong way.
Wow, this is emotional for you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I would say so. I would say that we need more, especially it's unfortunate because now they use the excuse of this black person. Oh, that's just what black people say. I just want to punch them in their mouth. So it might come to that for me, but I think you guys will probably try to keep me out of trouble.
Absolutely. Wouldn't want you to get in trouble. I really appreciate you sharing your heart. I really appreciate what you do to serve our community. I know you just love people, CJ, and I've known you for a while, worked with you in ministry, and I wish more people would be as transparent, would get out and say more. I got a comment here, actually from my sister. Interesting conversation. Mr. Guffey is very transparent, and you are, and people appreciate that. We typically ask everyone to share. Okay.
I just want to say to all the diversity groups out there, homosexual, lesbians, black, white, just whoever, I love y'all all, and we can all hold hands, and just like Michael Jackson, and I think that was some of the most beautiful times that we have, that we are the people, and I just think we all got to get back to that. We got to reunite with artists and Christians and Christian. I mean, not just even, there's not just have to be secular, because I even think some of these secular groups have just lost where they're at. I think some of the churches have lost where they're at, you know, and I just want to see everybody again just come to hold hands and just, you know, I just miss that whole group of people. And I think they come to a realization that, you know, the birth of Jesus and the movement was back in the 70s, you know, and I think that was very important. I think we all need to get back to that, you know, because this is really a trying time. And I think the Lord is speaking out loudly through the Holy Spirit, through all the saints, and just, I think he's doing a lot. So I'm looking forward again. Let's thank you all, and all from the bottom of my heart. You know, I just confess my hatred and my sin to anything like that ever again, and I repent and turn away from it, and I follow the light.
All right. Christopher Jason Guffey. CJ, thank you so much for joining us. Maybe we can continue this conversation next week with ideas and more ways that you're out and about.
No, I'm not out and about. Now, matter of fact, I really don't know what I'm gonna do right now. I feel like I'm called. I know I'm called home. I'm coming off the road.
Okay.
I'm not going to travel for a while. I believe that. Well, I'm not telling him what to do by any means. I feel that I'm being led to stay here.
Okay.
Take some big deep breaths. I've got some things that I need taken care of personally, and I believe that God's going to have other people help me. And I believe that again, that there's going to be. I have like this whole heart to go back out to the streets of Charlotte, right into the tent city, maybe stay with them for a little bit, you know, and stay, you know, I just, that's where my heart is. I'm not a guy that is scared to walk out there and, you know, put a mat down and bring some,
no, you're not.
some hot tea, you know, some hot tea with some lemon and honey. And like, does that cost a lot of money for us to do for these people? I don't think so. I'll buy it.
All right, CJ. So we're going to wrap up, but we're going to bring you back next week. We're going to continue this conversation. And I so appreciate you taking the time to join us. So you see, even we worked through the technical difficulties to get him on and to have this conversation. What a powerful, powerful testimony to see him shed tears over the whole issue of racism and bigotry and the impact that it's having on our community, not just with COVID, but overall. See, I knew we had a great conversation coming. Too many glitches, which was trying to give us excuses to say, oh, it's not going to work out. But look how it did. It's time for me to wrap things up. We're actually 8 minutes over today. Well, I'll say 7. We got started a little bit late. But thank you all, everyone, for hopping on. And please share. Let people know that we are keeping this conversation going. I want to say thank you again to Dr. Tricia Black, Groundwater Solutions, groundwater-solutions.org, 704-596-0505, 596-0505. And you can join me on Saturday morning, Sounds of Inspiration. Actually, I'll be on Friday morning, filling in for the lovely and talented Melanie Pratt. I'll be in on Friday at 10 a.m. You can join me then, and back on Saturday morning as well for Sounds of Inspiration, keeping you informed and keeping you inspired. Also on Saturday, a busy weekend, Teaching in Color, a summit that's going to look at ways for teachers to adapt as a result of COVID. So this canceling COVID thing, again, getting some traction. It's a panel discussion. Dr. Tricia Black will join me, as well as Angela Dunstan. And also on Saturday, this is in Durham, the Gospel Industry Network is having their conference, and I'll be on a panel discussion about that as well. So looking forward to all of that. Looking forward to a great week, great weekend. As for you, be alert, be safe, be well, and check on your neighbor. Keep in mind that together we will continue, and we plan to cancel COVID. Most importantly, we plan to keep you informed as information keeps coming about. Have a great day, everyone.